Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Jeremy Grosfroca, and I am the Customer Center Manager for GE Healthcare here in Europe. Could you please mute your mic? Thank you. Thank you. That's nice. So, my name is Jeremy Grosfroca, and I'm the Customer Center Manager for GE Healthcare. What a great pleasure this morning to host you again virtually in our Customer Center for this fourth RSNA live scanning session 2020. I hope you are having a nice congress and that you will enjoy the session. We are here in the magnet room of our customer center with our Signa 3T architect. We will use this system for the presentation, and let's get started. So to start, let me introduce you first Jérôme Bedet, who is the Zone Clinical Leader for Cardiac and Vascular. He will be with us during the whole session. And also Isabelle Dufour-Claude, who is our clinical leader for body imaging, and she will be the moderator of the session. So if you have any question, you can write it in the chat, and at the end of the session, we will dedicate it some time to answer to the questions. So today's session, it's a bit specific because we will dedicate more time in the room and also at the operator console to speak about workflow. Our topic today is improving workflow using air. The first idea to understand is that air is not only a coil. We start with the air coil, but today, air, it's an ecosystem of solution that we developed in order to assist our customers and our patients at any step of an MR procedure to deliver them a simply better experience of MR. This simply better experience of MR, it's a journey which starts by the patient experience, the patient positioning and comfort, and then the user workflow and the user experience, and it's finished with the image quality and the diagnosis. And we have solutions to help them in all this journey. So let's start now the presentation by the beginning. The beginning is patient comfort. This is critical for us and for you and for us. So on our system, we have here comfort mattress, which are memory foam mattress, where the patient will be really well installed to deliver to the patient the best experience possible. And it will probably imply more reproducibility for your examinations. Either for the patient experience, we are able to scan feet first or head first any type of examination. This is thanks to our posterior coil, which is fully symmetric and will give you the best image quality independently of the positioning of the patient. So we know that for claustrophobic patients, anxious patients, it's really important to have this possibility to be scanned feet first. You will probably rescan less and generate more reproducibility on those patients. If we are continuing to think about the patient experience, we can talk a lot about those coils which are really patient-oriented. But I prefer to keep this part for a bit later in the presentation. And now I would like to go on the user experience, on your experience. So let's start on the table. This table for Signa 3T Architect is a detachable table. Pretty easy to use. You have a pedal here at the bottom of the table, and the table is pretty easy to handle. For a single user, it's pretty easy to use and to work with. And here you have two different pedals. One is to put the brake and then make some transfer patients safely, if you have a lot, for example, of intensive care patient. And the other one is to lock the wheel, and then you will manipulate the table easier. And then to relock it, it's quite simple. You have to come closer to the magnet, and then you have just to follow the information that you will find on the IROC, which is the screen that you have at the top of the magnet. So you have an orange icon which asking you to redock the table. You have the pedal to do that. And then, second step, the system is asking you to put the power back. You have a dedicated pedal for that. Then I can scan with my table. let's continue to focus on this table because a lot of things happening here. Another nice feature, you have those barriers, which are available for sure on both sides, with two different positions. One to put some alveoli into your patient, and another position to transfer, to move the table with your patient on the table really safely. Another nice feature on this table, probably one of my preferred ones, you have the Intellitouch. Intellitouch is this sensitive strip band that you can find here all the way down the table. And by using that, you will be able to create your landmark with one finger in one step. The user just have to press here on the side. I can create several to show you. And then your landmark is created and just have to send your patient in the bar. So it will really smoother the workflow as you have less step, and it will dedicate more, you will be able to dedicate more time to your patient by doing that. So Intellitouch, I think it's the first step to Airtouch. Airtouch is the first member of Air family that we will cover today. Airtouch is an automatic coil selection feature, which is working with those systems. So it means that you are connecting your coils, creating your landmark, and then the system will do everything automatically by itself. The system will know where each coil element are on the patient and will switch on or off the relevant element for any scan. So no manual step anymore for the user, and consistency and reproducibility in your image quality. By telling you this Airtouch story, I think this is the great opportunity to start to speak about coils. So today I want to demonstrate you three different coils. First one, not visible here, it's the posterior coil. Posterior coil is embedded here in the table, 40 channel element, fully symmetric, with an adapted size of the elements and on the repartition of elements to cover spine imaging, abdominal, pelvic imaging, the same way, feet first or head first. Another coil, which is on the table, the 48 channel head coil. So let's start with this coil. First, the patient experience with this coil, because it's really patient oriented. Here you can see we have the comfort hilt, which will give you the best experience for kyphotic patient and good image quality independently of the condition of the patient. And also, really important to know, we developed this coil with the NFL League team in the US to give the possibility to almost 100% of our patients to fit in comfort in this coil and more, which is really important. For example, if you have a lot of neurosurgical patient, a lot of intensive care patient, which sometimes will not fit really well in another coil. And also, we can add this part also to give more space within the coil to the patient. And you can see here, a lot of space. But it's not only a story about comfort, it's for sure a story about image quality. 48 channel element for the brain area, which will give you high homogeneity, high spatial resolution, and high image quality. Today, we will scan with this coil. You will be able to taste a bit the quality with this coil. Last coil, last but not least, the 30-element anterior array air coil. I assume that you probably already heard about this coil. With this coil, we won the Best Radiology Devices Award from Hunt Mini in 2019. So what are the main characteristics of this coil? First of all, this coil is really light. It's 2 kilograms, less than 2 kilograms, with cables and everything. So it will be, again, the patient experience, because type of patient who cannot support heavy weight on their abdomen, after surgery or for fetal imaging, for example, they will definitely prefer to be scanned with this coil. But it's also really flexible. You can see that I can really have all the flexibility with the coil, which will give me the possibility to really fit the coil to the patient morphology, independently of it's a huge patient or a small patient. And also, it will give to this coil a lot of versatility because you will be able to wrap this coil around any anatomical part. For example, in yesterday's session, we performed a knee examination with this coil, which is amazing. And also, you have a really large coverage. When we are thinking about thorax, abdomen, pelvis imaging, you need that because you won't have to reposition the coil if you want to scan different anatomical parts at the same time. You can taste that. I am 1 meter 90 centimeter, and you won't have any problem to do that on myself. But it's not, again, only a story about comfort and flexibility. It's also a story about image quality. You have 30 elements with a breakthrough new technology for coils element embedded inside, which will give you the possibility to overlap the element on themselves without any penalty regarding SNR. And in the meantime, you will be able to use high parallel imaging factor to get a really high spatial resolution. So I think it's quite everything about this room presentation. I hope you enjoyed. And now I will take my volunteer who is ready at the entrance, and I will install her for the examination. As we are working here in the 3T magnet, I will not be able to keep my headset. So during the installation of the patient, I will leave the ball to Jérôme, who will comment what I'm doing at the moment. And I see you in a minute at the operator console.
Yeah, hello, I'm Isham. I'm the project manager for the 3T system in Europe. Here, you can see that the comfort tilt is already installed on this table, and Jeremy is setting up the volunteer there, and you can see the installation. It will be very comfortable and will fit with the cervical tilt, cervical inclination. The volunteer and table will be adjusted to the size of the patient. They can go very low. And the patient is correctly installed. Now he's connecting the coil on the top. As you can see, there is a 2 lock behind and the mirror on the top. Compatible, this coil is compatible as well with the Google glasses and compatible with EEG cable, and give us the capabilities to do all the fMRI work with this type of coil. Now he's sitting under the patient for hair comfort under the knee and to follow the lumbar curve. And you can see here the installation of the air coil. So this coil is very flexible, and you can combine it with a different coil, with the posterior coil here, and with the head coil and the air coil all together, and have a lot of elements connected in the same time, and it's very important. Right now, he is doing the ISO center using the touch strip and giving the ring ball for the volunteer for the safety reason, for the security as we have to do. And we launch the exam in a few seconds. So again, you are free to ask any questions in the chat. We are here to try to reply at the maximum at your questions. And
so
go ahead.
Thank you, Jeremy and Isham, for this very nice demonstration in room. Just before jumping to the live scanning session, let me just recap, detail a bit more what is the SignaWorks Air IQ edition. As you may have understood, the Air brand is not a single feature. It's actually a family of solutions to improve versatility and comfort, as you may have seen with the air coils. but also simplify the workflow with the Airtouch and AirX that you will experience in a minute. Air is also new reconstruction techniques like AirRecon and AirRecon DL, powered by deep learning, which significantly improve the image quality for better consistency. So now I will leave the mic to Jeremy for the live scanning session.
Thank you, Isabel, for all that information. So here we are at the operator console. Let's start the scanning session by running a brain examination. We are using the 48-channel head coil, as we saw, and we also position the air coil on our patient. So first, here we are running the localizer. While it's running, let me demonstrate to you a bit more this right bottom corner part of the screen, which is the Airtouch interface. As you remember during the presentation, I told you that Airtouch is this automatic coils element selection. Here you can see that the user only have the coil which are plugged and connected on the table at the moment, and then everything is done by the system automatically. Here you can see that we are running the calibration for coils. So at this moment, the system is creating a sensitivity map where then the system will be able to locate any coils element at any moment in the field of view and to pick the correct one to scan. And it's smart enough to adapt the coil selection dependently of the prescription, I mean, the PSD. For example, if you are accelerating a lot, the system can know that and can select more coils element because it's needed. Okay, let's run the first sequence. As you saw, we are using the comfort tilt, sorry. And let's open the first sequence. And you can see, even if the patient position is, let's say, not the anatomical one because we are using the flex tilt, the system has already positioned everything. This is because we are using here AirX, another member of the Air family of product. AirX is an automatic slice positioning based on the deep learning algorithm, which is capable for neuroimaging to position automatically the slices. It's here in your user interface. You have the anatomical reference available. We'll go deeper on that just after. And you have also anatomical plane. So let's run this axial T2 ACPC. And just before to go further, I want to highlight something here. You can see the scan time. It's pretty decent, pretty nice in plane resolution, 0.8 by 0.9 with 4 mm slice thickness. And it's only 45 seconds. This is because we are using AirRecon DL, again, another member of the Air family. AirRecon DL, it's a deep learning-based reconstruction algorithm, which will work specifically on raw data to depict and remove noise and Gibbs artifact. So as we are removing noise, we will improve the signal-noise ratio and then giving to the user the capability of decreasing drastically scan time or improving spatial resolution, or even more. Sometimes you can do everything at the same time, improving SNR, improving spatial resolution, and decreasing scan time. And this is here available at the operator console. I will show you this in more details just after. Let's scan also a 3D T2 flare cube, also really fast, 2 minutes 26, again using RX. Okay. And the 3D TUF. I think it was important to show you a 3D TUF because first sequences were ACPC. You will probably tell me that ACPC is a quite easy plan, but 3D TUF could be a challenge for people who are doing neuro and are not really skilled. Yeah, you can see that our 3D TUF is already positioned by RX because here you have in the anatomical reference circle of Willis. So you will get reproducibility in your slice positioning independently of the level of the user and independently of the positioning of the patient in the bore, which is for neuro critical if we think about patient follow-up, to have reproducibility and to allow the radiologist to see exactly the same slice positioning between the different time points. This is something really critical. And so here have a look, anatomical reference. You have several ones. You have the temporal lobe, you have the internal ears, for example, optical nerves, pituitary. There is, you can cover all, you can cover everything in brain, in neuroimaging. Let's validate this one. And we can have a look to our first images because it was really fast. Okay, this is our actual T2 for 45 seconds of acquisition. So this is again by using AirtouchDL. The best way to taste this AirtouchDL experience is to compare the same data set on the left part with by using AirtouchDL, on the right part, same, without applying the deep learning based algorithm. And you can see for sure the signal-noise ratio improvement, but also the Gibbs artifact, which is removing. For example, if we have a zoom here, you can see you have those small lines here, which are Gibbs artifact. I mean, really common artifact, but you can see clearly here that we are removing those lines, the same here on this part of the brain, and it will give you really more sharpness to your images. And it's really a game changer using AirtouchDL. I'll let you taste those images. And again, it's making high level of quality in terms of image quality with a really short time. No compromise to make anymore by using this AirtouchDL. Okay. So then, let's now try to go down because we talked about Airtouch, sorry, and we would like now to go down. So let me open the localizer for C-spine, and I will just demonstrate to you that I don't need any manual intervention to get proper positioning. Everything is done by the system at this moment. Okay, we can validate. And we can have a look of our 3D flare. On this 3D flare, to speed up the scan time, we used I%, which is our compress sensing technique. So as a reminder, compress sensing is under sample of the K-space, which is combined with iterative reconstruction. So it allows us to decrease drastically the scan time without penalty in terms of image quality. And have a look, first of all, of the homogeneity of the signal on the brain for 3D flare. This is thanks to this 48-channel head coil. And also here, you can see that the MPR reconstruction are really, really impressive and really good quality. Isabelle, do you have some question in the chat? Because time is really running fast. Maybe you have some question?
Not for the moment.
Okay.
But don't hesitate to put any in the chat. We will answer that while we speak or at the end.
For sure. Feel free to do that. while it's running, I don't want to waste any time. To demonstrate you this air coil, versatility, let me show you the examination that we performed yesterday on the knee. I told you that we performed the knee with the air coil. If you were not at the session, I think it's great if I can show you that. So this is the image quality we obtain on a knee with the air coil, so entire array air coil.
Jeremy, how
Yes.
did you do that with the air coil for a knee? Is it wrap around the leg? How would you do
exactly, that? Exactly. We wrap the coil around the leg. So it's what I said. You can overlap the coil elements, and it was really comfortable, first of all, for the patient, and really easy to position. It was quite fast. And you can see, again, here we are using Airicon DL, and you have 0.4 by 0.4 in plane resolution with 3 millimeter slice thickness. And look at the scan time.
How is it possible to wrap a coil around the leg without is there no decoupling or coupling effect?
No, this is thanks to the air coil technology. The coil element have this technology which allow us to really do this really huge overlap. It was really a huge overlap without penalty, which is not possible even with a flex coil, a classical flex coil, I mean, which you can flex but not overlap coil elements.
So you mean that you can have more elements within the same field of view using the wrap?
Exactly, Isabel.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So time of flight is now down, and I think we'll just finish on time. I would like to show you cervical spine, again using Airicon DL to show you that cervical spine is tricky. It's sometimes a tricky anatomical region at 3T. So let's have a look on a nice sagittal T2 and cervical spine for less than 1 minute 30. And then we will make a quite fast thorax, abdomen, and pelvis to show you this coverage of the air coil. So you see, I just move my field of view down, and the system just switch off the not relevant elements and switch on the one that you will need to provide the good image quality for this localizer. And it will do the same for the slice prescription for cervical. Let me just position it quickly. Okay, so 1 minute 15, 0.7, 0.9, 3 millimeter slice thickness. Just position for the thorax, abdomen, and pelvis. And we can have a look to our 3D TOF. So here, let's have a look to our MIP reconstruction. So you can see 3 minutes. Again, the same. Here we are using hypersense to do that. And we have this great signal with a lot of information on arteries on the distality. And again, we can say, I mean, thank you to this 48 channel head coil. And if we go back on our story of yesterday, I can show you that we didn't stop our acquisition on only a knee. We also acquired a full leg examination. It's 124 by 124 in plane matrix with 1 minute 30 1 minute 30 acquisition time. And also, we finished with an ankle scanning, an ankle acquisition, and the same resolution, 0.4 by 0.4, 0.4 by 0.4 in plane with 3 millimeter slice thickness. And we did everything without moving or repositioning the coil. We wrap at the beginning of the examination, and we just go down and down and down on our patient. So you have this consistency in results with the air coil without and with also Airtouch DL. Okay. Let's have a look to our C-spine now. I'm sorry, I'm a bit late, but it's important that you see all those sequences. It's a lot to share, and 30 minutes it's quite fast. So let's do the same with comparison with and without Airtouch DL. And again, we clearly see this this signal noise improvement, sure, but also the ringing that could generate some artifact here in the spinal cord. You have really this homogeneity of signal with more sharpness and also a really nice contrast. And again, in 1 minute 15 with 3 millimeter slice thickness. I'll let you taste a bit the image quality. Okay, now we are scanning our thorax, abdomen, and pelvis, T2 SSFSC sequences, also using Airtouch DL. So if we just summarize to finish the session on that, we covered Airtouch for automatic coils element selection. We covered air coil for sure, which is doing a great job at this moment. We covered RX for automatic slice positioning and consistency and reproducibility in your neuro examination. Airtouch DL to improve and magnify your image quality by removing noise and Gibbs artifact at the raw data level. Again, it's important. This is not a filter. This is really a deep learning algorithm applied on the raw data. And all of that on our Signa 3T Architect system. So we are expecting the last step of our thorax, abdomen, pelvis. We'll pass and we will see the results. So I hope you really saw that all these great tools are really easy to use and really simplify your life with in your daily routine. You see the pasting is performed in line, nothing to do. And let's have a look of this coverage. So it's only one air coil, you remember, on our volunteer. Here using the Airtouch DL technique. And let's have a look of this huge coverage and this huge homogeneity of signal. If I measure it, it's 60 centimeters. And so by showing that, we finish the story of air family and of the air coil. Huge coverage, high image quality, versatility, reproducibility, and that's pretty all. I really hope you enjoyed the session. Do you have maybe a question or a last comment before we close?
I do not see any in the chat. There were just a question about the Signa Architect that it is a 3T system.
Exactly, it is a 3T system.
And no, yeah,
Okay.
Do you have a comment that images are impressive from one of our customer connected?
Okay, that's great to hear. I would like to remind you that there is a last scanning session tomorrow 10 a.m., same time. It will be cardiac oriented. I will be again with Jérôme for this scanning session. Please feel free to register. And this is the time for me to say, have a nice Congress. Thank you again for being with us today. It's every time a pleasure to, at least virtually, but meet you. Thank you and have a nice day, everyone.
And thanks to all of the attendees.